Hi. Oh.
You go ahead.
All right. Hey, and welcome to A Nominee, the Lost Episodes.
The Next Generation.
Yeah, and so... Pilecast. We haven't shed as many names as we thought we would at this juncture.
In fact, we
in this
added
venture.
one.
Yeah. So today we're going to start off the third episode by atoning for the sins of the first two episodes by doing some fact checking. Which, when I say we're going to do the fact checking, I misspoke because Ron did all the fact checking, but I'm here for it, so.
Well, you just corrected
I'm what makes it a party, right? Yeah.
You errated yourself.
Yeah, it's auto-errata. Yeah. I auto-errated myself.
Well, so this is the Anomaly Errata, or the Anomaly Errata, for short, and
Phenomena.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So I've got to confess. So this isn't entirely my own idea, or unique idea. I actually listen to a lot of Kevin Smith podcasts, and there's one that he used to do. Might still be on. I'm not sure. The episodes are few and far between. Called Ejima Correction. And he basically knows nothing, and he would have there was another guy who knew everything, and he would basically teach stuff and quiz stuff at Kevin, and that's how Kevin would learn. So every other week they would have or every episode, at the beginning of the episode they would have this was the show is Edumacation, so they'd have Ejima corrections of listeners would send in, say, hey, wait, you got this wrong, and blah blah blah. And Star Blazers or whatever didn't have that wasn't what the wave motion gun was like, and blah. So stealing from that, this is Anomaly Errata or Anomaly Errata. So the first thing is a little bit of apology for the sounds for the sounds for the last few episodes.
Yeah, we figured out that my headset actually has a better microphone than the microphone we were using, so. That's going to find a new home soon.
And then the microphone that I had wasn't working, and I realized when I got home that I think it's because we had the volume all the way down.
All right, so that might be an even better microphone, so we might have to apologize again for that one next episode.
Because this time we're recording through the microphone of a gaming headset.
Yep.
And it's working better, so let's see how this works, or we hope.
And I think this is the first time I've ever used this because I have like 6 or 7 gaming consoles hooked up in different places. None of them are connected to the internet in any way, so this is like completely worthless to me, except for like this. It's like Rudolph, like it's been waiting for its one moment to shine in like a little drawer for I think 2 years now.
It finally gets
good
to...
for you, little guy.
It gets to play the headphone games with all the other AV equipment. So just so you know, in terms when it comes to audiovisual stuff, and all the stuff that Dan has, one of the movies that we had was an old videotape, and I texted
bootleg videotape, VHS.
Yeah.
RCA, standard grade, not even the high grade.
Right, what was it? SLP? Was that it's probably recorded.
I mean, there were
possible. And,
well, there were like the 3 modes you could record in, which usually, like, if you bought a tape at the supermarket, or like because supermarkets would be big rental hubs in smaller towns that couldn't support a video store. Yeah, if you bought a blank tape, I think it was SP was standard play, you get 2 hours, EP extended play, you get 4 hours, and then LP you get 6 hours, and then you could also set it to like a super low resolution setting where you could get I think it was mostly for like security CCTV systems, but you can get it down to like, I think you can feel like 15 hours worth of tape. That's like the most I ever heard of. So if you just like jam it with tape and record it at the absolute lowest quality humanly possible.
So if you wanted to get your own copy of a movie and not pay $59.99 or maybe $59.95, who knows, save 4 cents. That might make all the difference. You and your friend brings over their VCR. You hook them up. You pop in Brazil or 2001: A Space Odyssey, or the Valley of the Dolls Part 2, and you put the blank VHS tape in the other VCR, and you copy it, and the movie has to be 2 hours or less. Now, some of those movies I mentioned were longer than 2 hours, so you'd set it to EP. You get up to 4 hours. Quality's not as good. But you do that for the good movies. If you're recording, I don't know, for some reason the news, or Super Friends on the TV, you could use SLP and get 6 hours worth of Super Friends on one tape. So.
Right, and the tape falls apart, because I picked them up in a box off the street, but it's like 6 LP recording, like 6-hour marathons of original airing Simpsons episodes, including the first one. And it just it plays back, but it looks like you're like tripping on cough syrup the whole time, and the audio screeches, because they're just the recordable media you could buy with VHS, unless you were buying in a professional capacity or you were buying like broadcast quality tape. It just was not made out of very sturdy materials. And yeah, the extended playtime did not help that at all, because another thing with like VHS care and maintenance, you never want to leave the tape in the middle of the tape, because the tape hangs and it stretches out the tape, so that's how you get those like weird wobbly tracking issues on old tapes sometimes. Is usually like the tape got stretched. I could go on about this all day. I don't think anybody wants me to.
Yeah, I was just going to go through a whole thing about all the videos videotapes that I used to have, and and then I realized, okay, yeah, we still haven't even started with a first
we haven't
correction or follow up.
Yeah.
So we call this errata, but it's actually not just. It's both corrections and the stuff that we're like, wait, I don't know about this. No. So all right. So here we go. For episode 1, in which we watched I Married a Strange Person and Super Friends. First, I confirmed that aperitif is what you drink before the meal, and digestif is what you drink after. So we eventually figured that one out. I Married a Strange Person came out in '97. The Super Friends, that particular run, the show was canceled in 1983. But the last episodes were shown in reruns, so it wasn't that long before they actually started getting shown. So they weren't...
Well, and it was rebooted later, though, because there were the Challenge of the Super Friends episodes in, like, 84, and...
Right afterward.
Yeah, it was like they canceled the one iteration of it, but in syndication they were still kind of adding episodes, I guess.
Did they have the Hall of Justice, and what was the Doom one called? Was it the Hall of Doom?
I'm not sure. I feel like because we watched another Super Friends episode today, yeah. I feel like part of the journey of this podcast is going to be us like getting intimately acquainted with various eras of the Super Friends as I track down DVDs and what have you.
Eras or errors?
I mean, there's...
Maybe, whatever's there.
What can constitute an error in a show that doesn't really care about making sense or having a consistent reality?
The notion that the final line, the joke at every episode, that the writers actually thought it was funny. I guess the question is, did they think it was funny, or they just needed something to kind of wrap things up?
Well, it's like a popsicle stick joke. Like, you get to the end of the popsicle, and there's just a lame joke there, and then, like, it's like saying it's over, go home, I guess, or maybe I'm the only person who took it like that.
Well, it's and it's even like, that dumb joke is about, that non-funny joke is about to show up. Go home now. Turn it off. Turn it off. It's a cue that the commercials are coming. So it gives you a moment to go and get the commercials. Avoid the commercials.
Right.
Okay, Casey Kasem, who for some reason I auto-corrected to, or the phone corrected to Casey Karen. Hi, Casey Karen. He was born Kemal Amin Kasem, or Kasem, it didn't make clear, in Detroit, to a Lebanese Druze family. Again, I can go through the next 10 minutes talking about who the Druze are and so on, but we'll skip that. But he was named after Kemal Atatürk, who was the leader and founder of the modern Turkish state. And everything in Turkey, up until fairly recently, everything was about Kemal Atatürk. So, Bill Clinton, he did get married. He actually got married.
Is he still married? This is a bigger question. Oh,
He's
really?
Still married and has a kid. But he was born in 1946 and didn't get married to 2011. So
he was 60. That's 56. Like.
Yeah, what is that? Well, here
you're on AARP's radar at that point.
65. He was 65 when he got married.
Wow.
So, and he had a kid. All right. So some of the stuff we're thinking, well, maybe there's some credence to it, and some Clearwater. Just gonna say we need to figure out what the pounding sound was in the previous episodes, but we've already discussed that.
Yeah, I think somebody was doing the laundry downstairs. This is a very professional, high-tech. We have a lot of gizmos, but we don't have like a very professional space.
I'm occasionally monitoring the sound with some earbuds that I have plugged into the stereo system, so occasionally popping it into my ear and listening. Nothing we could do about it if it doesn't sound right, but at least I'll know, or will know. Okay, episode 2. What did we watch? We watched the Mighty Mouse Cork Snorting episode. We watched
Sven Hoek episode of Ren and Stimpy, the uncut version. And we watched the Ralph Bakshi directed Revolt in Dementia 5 episode of the 1967 Spider-Man cartoon.
So start with that. So we talked about 2001: A Space Odyssey and saying, so that inspired Stanley Kubrick to create that 20-minute long psychedelics thing in the movie. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is the Spider-Man series started in '67, but that episode didn't air until 1970.
Okay. So we know who took what from whom.
Yeah, and 2001 came out in 1968, and it was not affiliated with the Age of Aquarius. I don't know why I wrote that down in my note. It makes no sense even to me. Mighty Mouse. The Mighty Mouse cancellation. So the Cocaine Adventures of Mighty Mouse. The series premiered in November 1987 on CBS. And I'm going to quote a site called Comics Alliance. Quote, CBS balked at the episode but aired it after Bakshi explained he was in fact smelling a crushed flower. Parent groups insisted that Mighty Mouse could encourage children to become coke fiends, pressuring CBS to cut the scene for future airings. The controversy tainted the show, leading to its cancellation midway through season 2. So that's the claim, at least by this side, of what happened, and that's roughly kind of in line with what we were remembering. Not exactly. Let's see. Okay, the Sven episode. The Sven episode aired November 1992, but he was fired in September. So it actually
aired after he was fired.
It aired after he was fired. So maybe
they must have just needed some to fill programming time for the.
Maybe they just realized this Ren and Stimpy stuff. It's done.
I think on some level
it went on for another year. I think
it went on for like 3 more years. Yeah, after he got fired, it was on longer without him than it was on with him. In the later episodes, they actually get more gross. So I almost feel like Nickelodeon realized most of the audience for Ren and Stimpy was adults. I mean, I know, like, my parents never let me watch it when I was a kid, like, with good reason, but yeah, I kind of wonder if also just like when a TV network pays to produce a full episode of television, they like they never leave it in the vault. Like, the only thing I could think of that actually got put away in the vault for good was like the Star Wars holiday special or something.
Which, if you haven't seen, it's available all over the web. Just look up Star Wars Holiday Special and you'll get to see B. Arthur sing.
Yep, and it's from a Betamax cassette tape because they looked better than VHS. And that was, I was part of, or I had a membership to, was it this like really, they're probably shut down like long, I mean this was when I was at college, way past the statute of limitations, but this like TV torrent tracker thing, and they were like obsessively talking in the forums all the time about tracking down the absolute best quality archival copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And yeah, like the copies that are out there now are shockingly high quality for something recorded off of a television in 1978. I was pretty impressed.
I never had a Betamax, which was good because
I've only seen one in the wild ever.
I had a friend who had it, and he would show off about how the better quality, and you know. I
mean, I guess like the Betamax format for broadcast like preservation tapes, like the stuff that say, you know, NBC or ABC or whatever has in their corporate library, that's a lot of that stuff would be on beta tape, but it would be on like higher quality, like I think eventually the standard was called like digibeta, but it's just like very expensive beta cassettes that were much better put together than VHS tapes.
And then this wasn't for recording at home, but for watching. Before Blu-ray, before DVDs, we had Laserdisc.
Oh yeah, well I still have. Like that's the Laserdisc right there.
Oh no kidding! Do you have any actual Laserdisc?
I got a pile. I got all of The Prisoner on Laserdisc. I've got Twilight.
Oh, I've got it a DVD. It's probably better on that. I mean, the problem with those was that they were massive.
Yeah, they were pretty.
Well,
I can't afford to keep a ton of them, but yeah, I've got Manchurian Candidate. I haven't watched that yet.
Wow.
I was gonna watch that.
You've never seen it?
No, I never saw it.
Oh, you gotta see it for one bit, and I can't tell you what it is because it's a major spoiler.
But they look great. I have a CRT in the bit. The thing with Laserdiscs is that they don't upscale well because they're playing around with how the like old tube TV works. Tube TVs work. But I do have I have a Sony Trinitron Wiga in the basement, which is like the nicest tube TV you could get before they stopped producing tube TVs, and like that now you can just find them on the street if you're living around, at least around here. Like some people on the internet seem to be saying they're like 125 to 150 a pop, but like I've literally seen them out on Brookline trash like,
yeah, I don't know.
A couple weeks.
If you don't live in just regular trash.
Just like people put them out on the street. They got like component input. They can do HD. They're flat screen. They're great. But at the same time, they take up like an ungodly amount of space compared to the flat panel.
People
TVs.
Throw out some good stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that people would pay a lot of money for.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking like this. Like, so people throw out some good stuff, eh?
Well, he's delivering the moral at the end of the episode, but we're not at the end, so that's a correction.
I'm making the Super Friends joke at the end. Yeah.
So what else did we get wrong?
All right, let's see. So we talked about Spider-Man, Mighty Mouse, and Elvis Nixon. Nixon, the Elvis Nixon movie, which I recommend. Nixon was played by Kevin Spacey, which makes that movie somewhat problematic to watch.
Well, but do you really like? I don't know. I feel like associating Kevin Spacey with Richard Nixon mentally, like it sounds good to me. Like,
Okay,
they're
fair
both
enough.
people who went down in disgrace. It's kind of like with the Jeffrey Tambor thing. Like, do you ever watch the Larry Sanders Show on HBO? Right, and when it came out with that stuff that, like, he was apparently this, like, total dick on the set of Transparent, I was like, he's actually Hank Kingsley, right? Like,
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah,
it's like it like weirdly made the. It was like Gary Shandling had this like prescience or he just like saw through Jeffrey Tambor entirely.
Or just said Jeffrey, just be yourself.
Right.
In fact, anything with Jeffrey Tambor in it was just what do you call it? Spontaneous. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Well, he was in a lot of stuff. He was on a sitcom called Mr. Sunshine, where it's just he's a blind teacher, and it's just like a lot of jokes about him injuring himself because he's blind, basically. And I mean, it got canceled after 4 episodes, but I've been looking for that forever.
And he was not on the short-lived TV show She's the Sheriff with Suzanne Summers. That was George Weiner, is that his name? And for the longest time I used to confuse them because they were somewhat, tall, bald men.
Right.
Bald white men.
Hashtag not all bald men.
Not all bald men are white.
Yeah, that's
just the quick correction
right.
that I just made. So I apologize for the first one.
Oh, he was on Max Headroom too.
He is?
Yeah, he was. He's like the TV producer and the Office guy.
Wait, Jeffrey Tambor or George Weiner?
Jeffrey Tambor.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What else? I did not give Sincerely Elvis at the Graceland tour stuff. I did not give it its. I wasn't fair. I did not give it its due. Sincerely Elvis, while the smallest thing there, I believe, is a little bigger than I claimed, and it's used for exhibits, so it's a little bit like rotating exhibits.
Oh, okay. So it's like if you've been there a bunch of times, like you have to get the whole package again to see the new stuff.
Yeah, the other stuff might not change much, but Sincerely Elvis does. So. Let's see. Well, I won't get into the Seth Farland 9/11 plane. I just his story has apparently changed a bit over the years. Basic thing was the same. He got to the counter. He was late. He didn't get on the flight. He was saved. Okay, past that. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas from 1979 to 1981, and then again from 1983 to 1992. So he was running while he was governor.
Okay.
In between, for the 2 years in between, the governor's name was Frank D. White. Let's see. Oh, back to Elvis. Elvis's planes are called the Lisa Marie, not the Lisa Marie 2, and it's the big plane that's called the Lisa Marie. The small plane is called the Hound Dog 2. So I just combined Lisa Marie and the Hound Dog. And
so what happened to the Hound Dog 1, or was it just...
I guess it's just the song, although it doesn't make sense for Lisa Marie because she's not the plane.
Well, maybe she came after the plane. Maybe he got the plane first and then named his daughter after his private jet.
So she's really, her full name is Lisa Marie 2.
Yeah,
not Lisa
she's
Marie the second, but Lisa Marie 2.
Lisa Marie 2 Cage, or X Cage.
X Jackson. Ooh, yeah, okay, no, I know Michael Jackson. I never want to discuss him. Okay, I'll mention F-35 problems. For the F-35, they're waiting for spare parts. Apparently, something like 30% of spare parts, the supply chain is screwed up. Let's see. CBGB. I recommended the movie to you, because after all, it has Alan Arkin. Not Alan Arkin, Alan Rickman. Alan Arkin, the Adam Arkin showed up in one of the movies we watched, and I was like, "That's Adam Arkin! That's Adam Arkin!" So no, it was Alan Rickman.
And that guy from Galaxy Quest.
Yes, the guy from Galaxy Quest. Yeah. That's his claim to fame.
He's been in other things. Wasn't he like Nightcrawler in the X-Men movies or something? Or am I thinking of somebody else entirely? I think I'm thinking of somebody else entirely.
You're thinking of
Alan Cummings.
Yeah. You're thinking of Alan Cummings. So, that's 3 Allens so far.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman, Alan Cummings, and Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin.
They control Hollywood, the Allens.
The Allens, yeah. It used to be the Jews. Now it's the Allens. So I think it was clear before that we're Jewish, although everybody's allowed to make that joke, I think, about Hollywood and Jews, and unless they mean it.
Yeah,
we're allowed to mean it.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't know. I didn't get any of it, you know. I didn't get, like, I hear about this gold. I don't get any of the gold. You know, I'm not, like... Well, I guess we're staking our part in owning the media with this podcast.
We get to control this podcast. Well, even there, you some might argue that it's the technology that's controlling us, and we still haven't gotten the appropriate microphone.
We're still kind of sitting 2 feet from the TV with the headphone on a stack of VHS tapes and board games.
Yeah, and hopefully it's close enough. And I keep doing this voice in order to project better. So I'm sorry, I'm going to try and just talk my normal voice, but while projecting. Okay, CBGB 7% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's how popular. That's how well.
That
the rest
sounds
of the world
great.
Thinks of it. Yeah, but I enjoyed it. So okay, the monkey with the cymbals from Poltergeist. The monkey with the cymbals is not from Poltergeist. The monkey with the cymbals is in Close Encounters. So
I've never seen that one. Okay.
You've never seen Close Encounters?
No.
And you've never seen 2001?
I have seen 30 minutes of 2001.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
But I didn't see the other 1971 minutes
of
2001.
Gosh, I see that.
I had to go to college, and then I got a job, and then I just never got around to it. But
I watch it almost every year. It makes the rounds on the big screen at some of the theaters around here.
I still haven't seen Lawrence of Arabia. I'm waiting for like a good. Well, I want to see it on like one of those 70mm prints because like I have it on Laserdisc though.
It was one of the only
we could watch it on a.
It's 70mm print, but it was originally 68
millimeter print.
Yeah, that wasn't common.
It's
didn't even know it existed. I think it was 68. Okay, this is going to be one more thing to check because I remember this from an article, but how I found out about Lawrence of Arabia in the first place. So, 2001 and Lawrence of Arabia. Every time Lawrence of Arabia makes the rounds, I got to go see it, and I make everyone watch it. So, you got to see Lawrence of Arabia.
All right.
This TV might be big enough for it to warrant it. You know, it's smaller and it's
got
digital,
the big sound. The sound system I think is ready for Lawrence of Arabia, and I have a DVD of it. I could go. I think it has a 5.1 mix of the soundtrack on the DVD.
Okay.
But that would be worth checking out because like 5.1 surround mixes for like epic seeming movies are usually. They're not always good, but they're usually fun, at least, and sometimes they are really good.
And I own it on streaming, so I don't see which quality is better, and then but this is played here with your sound, so we have but hear that certainly much better than that. But in great sound system.
Laserdiscs, like the video is going to be crap, but the sound on those things is amazing.
Okay.
Like, I don't know why, but it just sounds really, really good.
So we'll need to set up the Laserdisc for the sound, and then at the exact same moment hit play, and watch it on streaming.
And hope that it's the exact same cut of the movie.
Yeah, that's true. If there's like a 5-second difference, suddenly the whole thing's thrown off. Let's see. Okay, I mentioned Frozen Chosen. I can't remember how it came up, but so the lyrics the lyrics were actually chosen Frozen. It's from "Welcome to the Terror Dome" by Public Enemy. The full the stanza. No, the four lines are: "Crucifixion ain't no fiction. So cold, chosen, frozen. Apology made to whoever pleases. Still, they got me like Jesus." So.
Oh wait! Yeah, I've heard Sam. So they got me like Jesus, right? Like that's like how it's delivered.
I don't know. I didn't listen. Well, I haven't listened to it since it came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to. I went through like a heavy Public Enemy phase when I was a teenager, and then it just sort of like.
We're showing.
They haven't done anything that exciting in the last like 15, 20 years.
Which is when I listened to them, I believe, or maybe We're showing a slight difference in when we were born, and what our childhood experiences were. So yeah, they got some flack for those lines possibly being anti-Semitic.
Yeah, there's definitely kind of an anti-Semitism problem in, like, not all hip hop, but like it seems to pop up more than at least I'm personally comfortable with.
Although now that since the 2016 election, we've learned that we're not white.
Yeah.
So there's more of that going on.
Except for Jared Kushner.
Yes, he's white. He's white. He fits. And despite the conversion, he remained white.
Yeah.
8 Mile and Clueless both have Brittany Murphy in it. That's the actress's name I was trying to remember. The girlfriend in 8 Mile.
Oh wait, and she's the daughter on King of the Hill.
Oh, you're right. Wow.
Or was the daughter on King of the Hill, because she died really young, I think.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Regarding Clueless, but Fast Times at Ridgemont High, it is the same writer and director, Amy Heckerling. She also wrote and directed Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking Too. Yeah, so I was a little, well, I don't know. I have seen both.
I mean, that's like a bold move to stand by it for a second movie. Like, I kind of respect that.
Yeah, and she has done other stuff, but yeah, I think Clueless and Fast Times are, her major achievements. And I mean, they're major. All right, Heather, Wiener Dog, and The Princess Diaries.
Wait, wasn't Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Didn't Cameron Crowe have something to do with the script on that, though?
Wait, was
the guy who did Almost, the guy who wrote Almost Famous.
Yeah.
I don't think he directed it, but I think he definitely had at least a script credit.
Okay, I am now looking this in real time. We said, no research and all that. Writers Cameron Crowe. Wait. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, wow, I just I just eroded the erod lab.
Enominated Ron. You just enominated me in real time.
On an errata.
Well, I apologize, because as soon as you mentioned Cameron Crowe, we would have corrected this. Wow, my research, I screwed up my research. She was the director, Amy Heckerling was the director of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but Cameron Crowe wrote it. Yeah, 2 people. Okay, but she wrote. Okay, now I'm gonna check in real time. Amy Heckerling, known for Clueless. She is the right. Oh, okay. There was a Clueless TV show. I am confusing. Where's Clueless? Clueless was Clueless was
1995, I think.
95, 96 was a TV show or something like that. Okay, she wrote and directed Clueless. Well, I guess you can argue that.
I remember when I was a little kid, I thought that Clueless was just the movie adaptation of Clarissa Explains It All, because I thought it was the same because they look so similar. Or maybe they just looked very similar to me because I was 5 or 6 at the time, but
well, no,
it isn't.
Well, everybody knows that the writer of Clueless was Jane Austen.
Right.
Yeah, so. It's based on Emma, by the way. In case I'm sorry, I didn't want to make.
Right, everybody's got to get credit.
Yeah, everybody's got to get credit. Everybody's got to know.
She still gets checks in the mail.
So Heather, as we all know, the best part of Princess Diaries, right after Julie Andrews, her name is Heather Moderato, and she, not Mastriano. We came up with Mastriano. You were correct. It was after Marcello Mastroianni. I've never been able to pronounce his name.
Wait. Okay.
Can you read that?
Marcello Mastroianni.
Thank you. I'm trying to make too many syllables out of those diphthongs. Anyway, she's Italian American who seems to play Jews. So, which I think I guess okay. Well, let's go past that. The dad in Happiness, we talked about his face and the single face, and his name is Dylan Baker. Terry, who I mentioned last time, the singing bartender and Broadway star, her name is Terry White, and she originated the role of Joyce Heth in Barnum. Hulk Hogan was in Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny, that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
How was Jack Nicholson paid for Batman? He received $6 million to play the Joker instead of $10 million, which was his going rate. And, okay, now this is, all right, this is from the Daily Star UK, quoting Mental Floss. Jack wanted a percentage profit share, unheard of at the time, as well as a percentage linked to Batman merchandise and the movie sequels. So movies that he wasn't in, he still
got checks for like Batman and Robin. No, I'm kidding. Yes. Nobody got any money for Batman and Robin. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it actually failed. I saw it in the theater. I thought it was like hot shit in the day. Again, I was like 6 or 7 or whatever.
My favorite of the series is actually Batman Returns. Wait, no, not Batman Returns. What's the second one called?
Yeah, Batman Returns.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
The one where Danny DeVito is the Penguin and Christopher Walken's the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Liz she needs to see that because it's like it's one of the most Tim Burton-y Tim Burton movies. Like, even though it's a Batman movie.
And in addition to Danny Elfman, Susie and the Banshees is involved. Oh, not Susie and the Banshees, but Susie from Susie and the Banshees. What was her name? Do you know?
Susie, okay,
Susie, but spelled with an X. Toni Basil, her full name, she is Italian American. Her full name is Antonia Cristina Basilota. She is 75 years old. Still think of her as in that, in the video. But she was 38 when Mickey came out. So I was.
Oh yeah, because she was in that Bruce Conner movie in 1965, Breakaway.
Okay.
It's just like it's an avant-garde movie. It's like 5 minutes long, I think. It's just her. It's like blinky footage of her dancing in a polka dot bikini for the most part.
So she wasn't a 22-year-old cheerleader.
No, she was hooked into the avant-garde art scene quite a bit in New York.
Okay.
That's how she knew the Talking Heads and stuff. Or I don't know if that's that would have to be fact. I'm not an expert on Toni Basil, but.
And didn't Talking Heads make the big break at CBGB?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the New York crowd, because like Bruce Conner was in New York most of his career, I think.
So you see, this isn't entirely random, because here we go back to CBGB and the Allens.
Right.
2001: A Space Odyssey. I talked about Dave Bauman never aging. I got that wrong. I can't believe I did. Dave Bauman ages fast, or at least we see quick cuts of him watching himself older and older very quickly. But he still turns into a giant space baby.
As we all do someday.
As we all do, and that actually, that'll. Come up later.
That's actually the topic of the episode whenever we get to it.
Yeah. The episode.
But we got to do due diligence.
Yes. Yeah. Last one, Mac and Me. All right, Mac and Me was not. I'm sorry, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was not in Mac and Me.
Wait, he wasn't? Who was it?
Not. The star of Mac and Me was Jonathan Ward. But the reason that you say that is that, okay, I'm going to read this from...
was it Russian propaganda?
Well, close. Yeah. So for every time that Paul Rudd shows up on Conan O'Brien and he says, let's play a clip, let's play a clip from a new movie, whatever, invariably it's the same scene for Mac and Me in which... in which the kid falls over a cliff or something like that. I don't know, but he always plays that same thing. That's why
we're gonna have to do a Mac and Me episode at some point.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen it, and I've
never seen it. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. That's notch.
That's going on the list.
Watch Mac and Me on Laserdisc.
I bet that actually came out on Laser. Oh yeah, and this is one of the few Laserdisc players that'll actually, because there were 5.1 Laserdiscs, but you need to have an optical output on the back of it, which is like, this is anyway.
All right.
Back to Mac and Me.
So that's it for Mac and Me. We're gonna have to watch it, so there's a Paul Rudd Mac and Me connection. It just he technically wasn't in it, but Paul Rudd should be in everything.
Right.
So that's fair.
Well, with like deep fakes, we can put Paul Rudd into Mac and Me, thereby correcting reality to reflect our mistake.
Right. Right. So there was an error.
So we can just say that we were talking about the Paul Rudded version of Mac and Me.
Right. Well, no. I think the reality is reality made a mistake. Reality made a mistake and did not put Paul Rudd into Mac and Me. All right. So now that we're done with the Anomanorata, we can get on to the actual episode.
Yeah, so today we watched, what did we watch? We watched Superstar, the Karen Carpenter Story, directed by very young Todd Haynes. Also, Dottie Gets Spanked, directed by a slightly older Todd Haynes.
Older by 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years. We may have to, I'm pretty sure that Superstar's from 1987. But we also have to leave some things wrong so that we can fill the first 40 minutes of the next episode.
Well, we were doing errata for 2 episodes.
That's true, yeah. So it's going to be quicker in the future, I think.
But we were mostly, yeah. So there's our excuse. There's our justification or rationalization. I'm not sure which it is.
So Dottie Gets Spanked was the second thing we watched, which is 1993.
And it has high production values.
That's the
pod roommate.
The podmate.
The podmate. So we've got Liz the podcast, and
we're all living in a pod. That's the moral of, like, if I was on the Super Friends, that would be the thing I would say before the credits, is that we're all living in a pod. Anyway,
which
now that
is talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey and Open the Pod Bay Doors Hell. So it all ties together.
Open the vortex.
Yeah. So yeah, Dottie gets. Oh, and then we watched an episode of Super Friends. It was called
Playground of Doom.
Which sadly had nothing to do with the Legion of Doom. I was looking forward to that. So
although it did have a cool, I always love when children's programs do a plot line about, like, things being radically mismatched in size.
Kind of like in the Spider-Man episode we watched, it was it turned out that the aliens from that other dimension were teeny tiny little things, right, that fit into Spider-Man's hand.
Yeah, and I think it's like this subconscious way that the writer, because, like, I feel like that comes up a lot on children's TV shows, and it's like this way that the, like, grown-ass men who actually end up writing these things try to sort of be like, yes, I'm trying to empathize with being small, like that kind of thing.
There's a whole genre of erotica on that giant and really small. That's a little. I wonder if that's all the people that grew up on, like, this episode of Spider-Man and this episode.
Yeah, maybe it's like a more subtle kind of furry thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, furry, that was totally people growing up with those, like, Disney cartoons with the anthropomorphized. I don't know. Well, I guess we should fact check that. I don't know if there's been any great academic history of furries yet that traces it to the origins, but
so a friend of mine did his or was working on his PhD thesis on adult babies.
Oh man! So
I'm not sure if that's still what he's working on, but when he's done with this thesis, there will be an academic paper on adult babies. And he's doing the research on it.
Like the people that buy the really expensive paper mache diapers for sex stuff, or like...
Yeah. Or it's not necessarily... It's not always sex. Or the role-playing that's involved. I guess it might be erotic.
Is it like it makes... it makes, like, process... or, like really ground up food taste better? It's like, I believe it. I don't know. I never tried it. I never went back after I left the baby food.
I did watch. Well, he showed me one thing. It was a movie. It wasn't a porn film. It was actually, and it was watching this these two women, and one of them was. I don't know if there's a better term for it or a more proper term than adult baby. So I'll have to use that until I learn otherwise. But there was a whole psychological component and there was a therapeutic component to it. So yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, for next time I'm gonna have to get more information on this, or not.
Maybe if there's like a movie about adult babies, like a fiction film. I feel like Netflix has been putting out a lot of content towards very, very specific demographics lately. So we might see like a short adult baby TV show or like adult baby one-off movie.
Actually, isn't there one? I don't know if it's on. Well,
Netflix, like in reverse, there's a lot of. There's like the Alec Baldwin is the like baby that's like talks like Donald Trump basically. And there's been two of those, I think, like Boss Baby, I think it was called.
Boss Baby, yeah. Boss Baby, yeah, that's a good point. And then there's the all those shows about the like Freaky Friday and 13 going on 30.
Big with Tom Hanks.
Big was big. By the way, my first date was to see Big. Yeah,
man.
Yeah. She was very nice, but it was just a one-time thing. We didn't click. And I'm not going to say anything else because she was very nice. So I don't want to analyze the date further.
Did you ever see that like recut trailer to make it look like Big is a movie about like Tom Hanks being in an inappropriate relationship with a child? It's amazing. Like it's just like he goes for the kid's shoulder. It's like, have you ever had a big secret? God, I hope that's still on YouTube. We gotta watch that after this, but
that's not funny.
It's a little tasteless.
Yeah. So the tastelessier the better. So let's see. So speaking of that, in the Super Friends episode, I guess going in reverse of what we watched in the Super Friends episode, we should
just make this a Super Friends podcast because we always watch other things and then we always end up talking about the Super Friends for like an hour.
Because I mean it's the Super Friends.
That's true.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Zan and Jaina yet.
Yeah. Zan and Jaina, I think they're on the other DVD because that's like the Lost episodes one, and the other one's the Legion or versus the Legion of Doom. It's just like a compilation.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I got to see what form of a butterfly and shape of that drop of water that comes out of the tap when the rubber is
shape of a slop bucket.
Yeah. Well, it's got but water, like dirty water after you've like cleaned the floors and all that, and then you wring out the mop and
right,
because it's always water. Anyways, So this one we have aliens again. Just like what was the other episode called? The Malthusians?
The not the Malthusian blob. No, that's economic. That's like child mortality. Malthus, right? The law of something to do with child mortality. Anyway, no, it's the it's the Malusian blob. That's what it is because the case I had to put it under the microphone.
Oh, right, that has all the episode lists, so we can't move things now, or it'll take us another hour. So, another hour to get this quality out. So in that one, we had. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking again of the Spider-Man episode. So in the Spider-Man episode, we had the giant Spider-Man turned out to be big and they turned to be small. And in this episode, the aliens,
the Super Friends, the aliens are like they're these enormous space children who just kind of troll the Super Friends. Not all, like the other Super Friends must have been like doing real shit or like they got like summer jobs or something because it's only Batman, Robin, and Superman in this episode, even though everybody else shows up in the credits. And yeah, just like these giant space toddlers show up in space, I guess, to just like break stuff on Earth and make Batman break his toys.
Right, they see so Batman and Robin go out in the Bat spaceship or whatever it is, and they go to
which has a cockpit like a World War II fighter plane or something, which is hilarious because they're riding it in space. They don't have any kind of equipment on. It's just like, oh, well, I'm gonna take the plane into space, honey. You know, like,
yeah, and then one of the kids picks it up and kind of breaks it a little bit, and so they're Batman and Robin are falling through the atmosphere. They go to burn up. So Superman, who's been in the Hall of Justice, watching it
from like a weird spy cam that's outside of the Bat plane, that's just like happens to be in this exact spot in space where the space toddlers decide to show up,
and is following it.
Yeah. It's like a moving camera.
So Superman then has to go up and rescue Batman and Robin. Now, I gotta know, why did Batman and Robin go out into space to go and take care of these alien space babies? Why didn't Batman and Superman was sitting back at the Hall of Justice watching the video screen? Why didn't Batman and Robin stay back and watch the video screen, and Superman went and took care of these aliens because, you know, he could do things like breathe in space?
Well,
and he's super strong.
I feel like secretly Batman has bad self-esteem, right? Because he's kind of like very short with everybody. He's not happy with anything.
And he's got a sidekick who's a little more incompetent.
Right. He always has to have a sidekick. And I feel like he might have space envy. Like, maybe Superman was like, hey, I'll go handle this. And Batman's like, no, fuck you. I can do it. I'll show you. And then, of course, like, Superman has to fly into space to save his ass from his burning, descending Bat spaceship that would never have been approved by NASA.
And when you've got Superman, you've got Wonder Woman, we've got, Black Lightning. That's the character who we didn't see this time.
Yep, and the problematic Native American superhero.
I think it was Apache Chief.
Yeah.
Who becomes super big.
Think the Cleveland Indians mascot got bathed in radioactive rays or something.
And this was, now it looks like, look how racist that is and all that. Probably at the time, this was like, oh, we need to have some diversity, and this is the early 80s.
Well, that was like the only Native American character you would have seen on TV, probably, because like there weren't a lot of Westerns running at that point in the early 80s. Like, what in the early 80s would have had a Native American character in it besides...
Do you,
I can't think of anything. I mean, I'm sure there probably was something, because I was not alive at that point. So I've not seen all of the television.
Did you ever see Northern Exposure?
No, but that was 90s, wasn't it?
Oh, was it 90s? Okay,
yeah,
early 90s?
Yeah, because that was after Twin Peaks.
My parents loved that show.
Your parents loved Northern Exposure?
Yes.
I really loved it too. Yeah. They have.
I never saw it.
Wait, how old are your parents? Don't answer that. They watched the first one. I watched the first one, but I wasn't probably as old as your parents. That's what I was trying to check. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, Northern Exposure takes place in Alaska, and it had a number of Native American actors in it.
Oh.
And it was a big deal. And actually, yeah. Speaking of Twin Peaks, the what's his name? Not the sheriff, but the assistant sheriff. What's the right word for that?
Oh yeah, the second in command guy.
He was Native American.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that sort of so he's Native American.
He's Native American, so he has metaphysical contact with the forest or something.
What was his name? It was Chief Hawk or.
Well, sort of as soon as industrialization happened, everybody in the U.S. that wasn't Native American was just all right, we're going to pin all of our feelings about the destructive side of industrialization into this story about Native Americans as we kind of exterminate both of them. Have you noticed that?
I just realized I can't believe I said Chief Hawk. I was thinking police chief. I was thinking of police chief. Wow. Okay, that was awful. I apologize. Yeah, but so it was Hawk. Deputy Tommy Hawk Hill. Hawk was his nickname. Played by Michael Horse. So I just did a quick check rather than waiting till next time.
All right, yeah.
But oh man, I love Twin Peaks. I remember, I watched it first run, and it was my first year in college, and we used to go was it Monday nights? But every night that it was on, we'd all go into the main, the main room in a dorm on a dorm
commissary.
Floor. Yeah, no, commissary isn't that
the
where you
common room?
The common room, I guess, and we'd all get around, and it was known at that time. What is it? Same bad time, same twin time, same Peaks channel. Same lunch time. Anyway, sorry. We would all go in and we would wait for it and we would watch and then the commercial would come in and we'd start talking about the theories. Oh my God, you see what? And okay, wait. So Laura Palmer was that? You know what? I think I see that little sign. Laura Palmer was bisexual. I bet. Turns out that was true. That was I won't even. So, anyways, it was we would watch that. That show was amazing. And I can't remember why I brought it up. So, but I just
Northern Exposure.
Yeah,
because it was I always understood Northern Exposure as being like a thing that the network okayed after Twin Peaks, the same way that like Geffen was trying to sign alternative bands after Nirvana broke huge. Like they were trying to replicate the success by like reining in the weirdness a bit.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe that was what the All Movie Guide entry said for that, because like I used to just sort of like check things against like between IMDb and the All Movie Guide a lot when I was looking for like TV stuff, because a lot of other like All Movie Guide was one of the only places that would have decent reviews of old TV that put it into a context and was kind of like, all right, well, is this something you really need to watch? And I think that's probably where I'm getting that impression. But I never actually watched Northern Exposure.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a little bit of a hole that I guess that it filled a little bit of a hole of that when Twin Peaks ended, it was quirky. It was no Twin Peaks. There was no Agent Dale Cooper, played by Colin MacLachlan. That I know. Oh, and actually, I will correct myself. It's Special Agent Dale Cooper. So, anyways, pulling back from Twin Peaks to Northern Exposure, so giant space babies that Superman goes, at first Batman and Robin go after, but they're useless, so Superman has to go and take care of things. But then the space babies, they're really 4 or 5. They're space toddlers.
They travel in a pack.
Yeah, it's
through
3 of them.
space.
And we later learn it's 2 brothers and a sister. But they're going around, and you think that so then they come to Earth, and they're going around, and they're picking up a truck and shaking it, and sitting on a building, and kind of swaying. And
playing with our lives and civilization as if they were toys.
The horror. Well, it is the horror, because they weren't cute. They weren't just playing nicely.
No, yeah, they were kind of like some kids are dicks and some space kids are dicks.
Yeah, these were dicks. They were
not well behaved. But when somehow Superman, because like Batman, he's like, oh, let me deploy my space bat ship, whatever, that must have cost like, it's weird, he's not like upset at all, but that thing must have cost like tens of millions of dollars.
The bat spaceship?
Yeah, like how much does it cost to make a spaceship in 1982, 83? Like, but yeah, no, he's just like, I'm going to break all my toys, and then Superman's like, I'm just going to call their parents, and then their parents show up, and it's like, you've been very bad space children.
Yeah.
And presumably go and spank them, which
I guess, well, just holding on to spanking for one moment. Actually, no. What else is there to say? Oh, I did want to say one thing. So as we learned that Batman and Robin are fairly useless in this, because first they go out to try to do something, they're incapable of doing anything, and then Superman has to go and save their ass. So in the Justice League movie, which was a big mess, I mean, I watch every one of these superhero movies, knowing that half of them are going to suck. But damn it, I'm going to keep watching them because I'm looking forward to the good ones, and the bad ones have this whole nostalgia thing. So Justice League, which I used to read when I was younger, we learn one important thing. So in this very messy movie, which is not necessary, we learn that Batman is the weakest link. Batman is totally useless.
Oh yeah, and that's why he's so insecure about everything. Like think about every Batman story, I guess like the major, not every Batman. I mean, there's like bajillion Batman stories, but like a lot of the big ones involve him essentially trying to replace the rule of law and order, right? Like Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. You ever read that one?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man,
right.
yeah.
And he's like, Superman is the representation of I guess U.S. military force.
Right.
At that point, Frank Miller had not gone insane and like neoconservative and like all this other stuff. He hadn't come around on Ronald Reagan, so Ronald Reagan looks all evil. But ultimately, yes, Batman is trying to replace the rule of law with an angry mob that he has trained, and that's how the book ends. Yeah, he just he doesn't feel comfortable with competition. He dresses, he makes Robin wear that like weird suit that doesn't even have like pant legs. He makes him like wander around in these kind of like vaguely sexualized pajamas. And yeah, like Batman has a lot of unresolved issues. The only he never has a girlfriend. The only person he relates to directly is an old man who's his surrogate father, and this kind of kid who you sort of like, the comic wants you to think that he's relating to the kid in this like paternal like surrogate father way, but you totally know that when the issue ends it's some Michael Jackson shit. Like I don't know, I could talk about like stuff with Batman all day. Like
I wrote a short essay on Alfred, and how he's the real I don't want to say powerhouse. He's the reason that he's the sane one.
Well, when Alfred stops cutting the crusts off of little Bruce's sandwiches, the whole operation falls apart. That's the sense I always got.
Or when he stops cutting the crust off adult Bruce's sandwiches. That's the whole thing. He continues, Bruce Wayne. Batman might be his alter ego that actually is like a strong character. Maybe you were just showing how he's not, right? So he's not.
Well,
Bruce Wayne
it's like
worse.
If you had a sequel to Mary Poppins where she's still taking care of the kids when they're 40. Like,
well, actually,
what?
No.
Was that a movie?
So Mary Poppins Returns.
Wait, that wasn't okay.
Yeah, it came out at the end of last year. Yeah, it wasn't bad. But yeah, so Jane and Michael Banks are adults now, and she comes and she spends most of her time with Michael's kids. He's widowed.
Oh no! What I'm saying is like Mary Poppins Returns, but the adult children that have grown up from the first Mary Poppins show, they haven't had children. They're still just kind of relating to her like they were the children in the movie with Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, gotcha.
But they're like 40 or 50.
But Mary
and that's
Poppins,
Batman and Alfred. That's
about right. I mean, he's Batman's surrogate parent. And he continues to stay that way without it changing. He's continuing to take care of a 10-year-old orphan, and as that orphan is in his 30s or 40s.
Well, you also kind of wonder, like, what kind of relationship did Alfred have to Batman that Batman is trying to recreate in his relationship to Robin? Right? Because, like, that's not a normal thing to just, like, keep picking up kids out of the circus without parents and train them to be child soldiers or something. Like like, I mean, obviously he's trying to fill some kind of void because of the death of his parents. But yeah, I kind of wonder if there's like either a connection to Bruce Wayne's relationship to his father before his father was killed, or Bruce's subsequent relationship with Alfred, which it's also very weird that in like a family that rich, he would be left in the custody of the butler.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they have no.
Where's the rest?
They have no relatives. Nobody else. They're just like, no. We trust the butler over any of our other family. Yeah.
And maybe they were estranged from the rest of the family.
Maybe, yeah.
They were the only wealthy ones, and everybody else wanted their money, so they cut ties. They cut the ties with everyone.
Yeah, that's DC. If you're listening, I would love to write the like Batman's Parents Family Problems miniseries that you have not yet published. Like the one dark corner that has never been explored in the Batman mythos.
Batman's Parents: The Untold Story.
Right.
So yeah, Batman. So Batman's useless. Oh yeah. So Justice League. We learned the Justice League movie. We learned just how useless Batman is, considering that everyone around him are say gods. They can do crazy things with water and fish, and whatever else. And they're fighting a god. So we've got Batman.
Well, yeah, Batman. It's kind of like the Justice League. The most powerful superpowers in the universe are being able to talk to fish, being able to use like BDSM to get people to tell you the truth. Green Lantern, I guess, like making big green things with your hand, and then Batman is just money, like the power of money, right? Like that's his, because he doesn't have any other superpowers. He just sort of.
Through brightest day and darkest night, no evil shall escape my sight. To all something, beware the power of Green Lantern's light. Now that's light rhyming with lights. I screwed something up. So anyway, sorry you mentioned Green Lantern.
Green Lantern and the Flash, I guess, like being super fast, which actually seems pretty nifty.
Yeah. Do you ever watch the Flash TV series?
The live action one?
Yeah, live action.
Yeah, I saw the pilot when I was really young, and I really liked it.
No,
I just never got back to it. It's like the hour and a half, like one with the Trickster, I think. But there was like there were 22 episodes that were picked up after that, but the Hollywood Video Store didn't have any of that, so I just sort of thought it was its own movie.
Wait,
for the longest time, like I think it came out in the early 90s. It was live action. I think it was on, I don't know what it was on one of the major like non-pay cable stations.
The three big networks?
Yeah. Is there like a new Flash series that came out?
There is. That's actually what I was wondering about.
Okay.
I don't know how many seasons it's had. It's had a lot. It's very popular. That and Supergirl, they even had a crossover. They've had crossovers. Because they're not actually in the same... They're in parallel universes. Anyways,
they're all the same universe for DC, and then like every once in a while they just kind of pave over some of the universes and make it a big event.
And in if they were in separate universes, that's part of the DC multiverse.
Right.
So this could be, some of the DC in the DC multiverse. There is a universe in which there is only Supergirl and Superman who does exist in there, but no Flash. And then there is another universe in the DC multiverse that is that has a Flash, but not a Supergirl or a Superman. But they're not. Earth 1 was where they were in it together. That's why all the superheroes.
Well, they folded the Marvel universe into the DC universe, but also added extra. So when they did the Marvel versus DC crossovers in the 90s, they had I think that was when they established that like normal Earth in Marvel Comics is Earth 616.
Oh, is that where that came from?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about, is like if there's because there's a multiverse and because they have to come up with some way that, like, besides saying that our lawyers finally came to an agreement that the two comic books have somehow never intersected, but now they're intersecting.
So they came up
with calling it Earth 616. Yeah.
Okay. So it's why they normally don't intersect.
Yeah, and there's some extra Earths in the Marvel universe, like the Squadron Supreme comics. If you ever read those, what's this, Mark Grunwald? That's Earth. Shit, what? It's not Earth 616, but it's another Earth.
So now with Flash, there's a whole thing where, oh no, there isn't with the Reverse Flash. And Flash eventually goes somewhere in the future. Okay, so Reverse Flash is from the future, not from a different universe. Is that correct? Or do you know? Or do you remember?
No. I mean, I'm trying to think. I read most of the Mark Waid Flash comics, and I read a lot of issues of Impulse, which was about like his like nephew having teenage problems, very reminiscent of early Spider-Man comic books. But he's just also, like, his thing is that he's fast. You know, like, I mean, they have, like, the whole Flash family, like the Superman family and the Batman, you know, this Batgirl and Bat this and Bat that and Superdog. And
who's the fast guy in the X-Men? Is it Quicksilver?
Yeah, and he starts out, he's actually Magneto's son. So he starts out in the Legion of, or the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or something.
Yeah, do they have a name for them?
Yeah, I think it's called the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants because it's like the early X-Men, kind of like the Jack Kirby ones before Wolverine, and when it's just the original 5, like in First Class was, X-Men First Class was kind of based on the early X-Men comics.
Okay.
What is it? It's Cyclops, Marvel Girl, aka Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, and
Nightcrawler? Or did he come later?
Nightcrawler is in he's one of the ones when they rebooted it, because the original X-Men comics did not sell very well.
Oh, really?
In the middle of, yeah, like most of what we recognize as being, quote, the X-Men in 2019 all begins with I think it's like 19, this is another date we'll have to check, but there's a comic book called Giant Size X-Men #1. The X-Men comic had been completely just running reprints for like a couple of years before that, and then with issue 94 they picked it up with a rebooted series. They added a bunch of characters. They add their own kind of Apache Chief type character. That's when Storm shows up.
Oh, I love Storm.
That's when Nightcrawler shows up. That's when Colossus was not in the original comics.
Okay. Colossus is the Soviet one, right?
He's the Soviet guy that turns into muscle, he turns into metal, like titanium or something.
My two favorites in the X. I didn't read much X-Men, but I had favorites. My two favorites were Storm and Nightcrawler. I don't know why. So speaking of X-Men, Todd Haynes movies.
Yeah, Todd Haynes movies. Movies about being different and not being accepted by society for being different. Like the X-Men movies.
And we also see and they're not ostracized, is that the right word? Or not ostracized, but
they live to serve and protect a humanity that hates and fears them. Except in Todd Haynes movies, they don't really, it's just more kind of society hates and fears them, but although I guess it's not even really that. It's a society like gives them a lot of mixed signals.
You mean in X-Men, or you mean in the Todd Haynes movies? Oh, Elizabeth is walking by with
the Todd
something
Haynes
that looks
movies.
Delicious. First of all, it's a sandwich, so if it's a sandwich,
is it a veggie burger?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. With melted cheese on it?
Yes.
Yeah, wow. And tomatoes and the bread. Is that regular bread?
It's cheese bread.
Oh my god. Oh, that's why. Oh, and it's
pesto.
grilled nicely. Oh, man.
Yeah, food.
Sorry, y'all.
This is the food section of the show.
The food section.
Speaking of food,
Elizabeth the
Superstar, the
podcast.
Karen Carpenter Story.
Yes, yes. So, Superstar.
Thank you for the transition.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth.
That is dark,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for bringing us into Karen Carpenter and anorexia.
Thankfully, our
Keep you on track.
happy
Yeah.
showbiz family, we all eat a lot, but that is not the case all around. And Todd Haynes.
Yeah, we have a party to go to after this is done, and I was gonna say, maybe we should get some food on the way or something, but there's gonna be food there, right?
There should be.
Okay, Elizabeth says there should be.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, the now eating podcast says there should be food.
Like snacks. I mean, so here's the dilemma. There's only one veggie burger left in the freezer. So if you wanted to split it, you guys could split it, but that's kind of...
I can figure out something to cook. We got like bread. I can make some pasta.
Yeah. Or
You get the pasta or no?
you have cheese?
We do have cheese.
Do you have a
cheese.
piece of cheese?
Yeah.
Just something till the hors d'oeuvres. I don't know if you wanted more, but anyways.
Yeah, I might whip up some pasta really quick, but that'll take like no time. So.
Okay, all right.
So let's talk about Superstar, the Karen Carpenter Story. So
like
I have
Thank
not,
Yeah,
I have not seen this movie since I was in high school. I remember the now disgraced Ray Carney of Boston University put it on his like films you must see list when I was in my John Cassavetes phase. And so I found it on illegalart.com. They had it posted with the first three Girl Talk records on a pretty terrible VHS copy, but to be fair, literally every copy I've ever seen of it has been at least like 3 generations dubbed from whatever Todd Haynes originally shot it on. Yeah, I thought it was much better this time now that I was like less of a 16-year-old rube. I thought there was a lot going on because like when I first saw it, I just sort of registered it as like this is a really grotesque kind of parody of an E! True Hollywood Story special, but E! True Hollywood Story didn't exist at the time. That I don't think that wasn't on in the late 80s.
No, but
that was
there
more
was
a 90s thing. I mean, there was definitely stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess like I only knew the E! True Hollywood, so I just sort of thought it was like, oh, okay, Karen Carpenter, Barbie dolls, E! True Hollywood Story. But there's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah, just to interject, I think like it's interesting you read it as like an E! True, like the Hollywood like gossipy thing, because that's not the. I mean, I thought it was very artistic.
Well, I thought it was artistic too, but it seemed like it was. I was picking up on the parts of it that were him kind of navigating identity through contrast to television, which comes up in both films. Like you have like old TV footage interspersed with the kind of like very minimalistic things that he uses to display everything that he can't afford to shoot with real actors or doesn't want to shoot with real actors.
Or can't afford to shoot with real actors.
Yeah, probably mostly can't afford, because I think this was shot on VHS tape, just like looking at it.
SLP.
Yeah, like, and there's definitely parts of it where he put it through a VCR a couple times to get a specific effect, like those TV clips, like even if you were filming a TV or like had a VHS camera trained at a TV, it wouldn't come out like that. You'd have to put it through a VCR once or twice to get that kind of effect.
So just so for people that don't know, yeah, all the characters. So it's about Karen Carpenter and her family. Mm-hmm. You see her family. You don't see many other. Well, when you see her family,
you kind of get the sense that, like, everybody in the movie is a Barbie doll unless it's their hand.
Well,
or Richard Nixon. Yeah, if it's either archival footage. Oh wait, no, yeah, you're right. There were the 2 interviews. Yeah.
So there's a few people being interviewed, and it's about the impact that Karen Carpenter made on them. There's one as a DJ, one as a singer. And so those are actual people. I'm not sure if those are actors or if they're the actual DJ and singer. I haven't heard of either one of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been like people like that. That was a trick that I used to do in college for, like, because I was in the or wait, no, I didn't do that. That's a long story, but anyway, I was like, oh, I have a college radio show. This woman I knew needed a quote for a story on the Ish Marquez, the Gin Is Not My Friend anti-folk guy. But I mean, he hasn't shown up in a while, so maybe Gin is his friend. But anyway,
please don't sue us. Please correct us.
Yeah, no, like I still have my Ish Marquez recordings. I like them quite a bit, but. I was like, yeah, here's a quote you can use. Just say that I'm a respected local radio DJ or something, and she did it, and they took it.
Cool.
The Writers Institute took it, so.
Oh, that's neat. Now, who's Ish Marquez?
So anti-folk was, I'm trying to think, like the Moldy Peaches scene. There's a place on Avenue C in Alphabet City in Manhattan called the Sidewalk Cafe. They have a very raucous open mic, and this kind of whole big scene has developed there around self-aware, ironic, quote-unquote folk music called anti-folk music. And yeah, that's a scene that, like, Regina Spektor, the Moldy Peaches, Jeffrey Lewis, and a lot of other people came out of it. Ish Marquez was kind of, I feel like he honestly, at least on like a melody level, like I don't think he had the intellectual content that like Jeffrey Lewis had, but like just in terms of like I want to listen to the record again, Ish Marquez was definitely way ahead of the Moldy Peaches for me. Like they were like great. It felt like these lost kind of like late 60s psychedelic records.
But when did they actually come out?
He was just recording them in his bedroom during the 2000s while just kind of being an alcoholic in New York City.
Okay. Oh, so Jim really was his friend?
Yeah, he was like, but they were great recordings, and
or maybe more of a friend of me.
Like, who knows? If anybody knows what happened to Ish Marquez, yeah, but
right.
Yeah, he kind of never got anywhere outside of like a couple burnt CDs that people gave me.
Yeah, so Todd Haynes. Sorry.
Oh yeah, this is.
I don't know what. Maybe there's more to say about Ish Marquez, but
probably. But I would have to listen to this stuff again, and I don't know if it's like great podcast material. But anyway, yeah. So Todd Haynes.
Yeah. So both these movies were short. I mean, this
Todd Haynes was like or not Todd Haynes. What is it? The Superstar. The Karen Carpenter Story was 43 minutes and change, and Dottie Gets Spanked was 29 minutes and something. Yeah. It looked like he might have done it with a TV grant because like grant-based TV. Sometimes it'll run to about 30 minutes because they don't put ads and there's just bumper space, depending on.
And it definitely had money behind it. I mean, it had much higher production values, and it
way higher.
It involved people instead of.
I mean, to be fair, like my movie had higher production value than like this
So you went cross country with your movie, right? So you had transportation.
Oh, I was talking about my first movie, which I shot for a total of $50. It's the same length as Superstar. It's called Acquaintances. You get to see a guy play music on his knuckles. Another guy talks about being abducted by aliens, but in reality, it's a very depressing movie about upstate New York townie culture, which I shot on literally the cheapest camera. Well, not the cheapest camera. It was like it was a gift. It was pretty nice, honestly, for the time, for like a absolute beginner's mini DV camera, but I just knew all these weird people in upstate New York, and
Acquaintances, was that the name?
Yeah, Acquaintances, and I believe I shot most of it in 2007 when I was finishing high school.
Oh, okay.
And I finished editing it when I was a sophomore in college in 2009.
When I was in high school, I was making Super 8 films, and one of them was when it snowed. This is when I lived in the Detroit area. It had snowed, and I got some Christmas ornaments. It was right after Christmas, so they were all like 75% off or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I got some reindeer and snowmen and a Santa, and I got out some playing cards and I set them up in the shape of Stonehenge. And they're all kind of going around, and then I can't remember if it was Santa or one of the reindeer that goes on a killing spree, kills them all, blood everywhere, and all of this was to the tune of "Ode to Joy," Beethoven's Ninth. So just one part of it. I then showed it. I brought my projector to school. I showed it we had some group. We would meet after class, about once a week, and we would do fun stuff and all that. So I brought this to show them, and then the what do you call it? The sponsor of the chaperone? What do you call the teacher who's
the teacher's assistants, the TA?
No, the teacher that is sponsors the student group, because every student group.
Oh, right. I think it's just the sponsor. That's what they call them in my school.
She got pissed because I brought religion into the school. I was like, no, I didn't bring Christmas into it. If anything, it was
You took Christmas out of it, with violence.
Right. I mean, Santa was there, but and Rudolph.
He wasn't being very religious.
No, not at all. Well, I guess maybe she objected to the Stonehenge. Maybe she objected to the.
Oh yeah, there was disrespect to the Druidic religions.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing. Those were the films I was making. I mentioned. We'll move on. Mention this another time. Todd Haynes. When we talked about Karen Carpenter Story. And it's a serious movie.
Yeah, and it's got roots in a lot of different genre styles of filmmaking. And he meshes them together very seamlessly, I felt like a lot of early films by great filmmakers can tend to feel like sketchbooks almost. Citizen Kane is almost like that. It's Orson Welles kind of processing this influence from, watching all these Maya Deren movies, watching all tons of different obscure movies you can only really see at art museums at that point, into this narrative film that gets commercially released. Although I guess Citizen Kane, the scenes integrate well too. But yeah, he's using 70s. But Todd Haynes is using 70s agitprop, whatever. Agitaprop. Yeah, he's using a lot of the styles from that. There's a lot of stock footage run very quickly. There's a lot of repetition of images, but there is also there are even scenes that are staged almost like a straight drama, just with the Barbie dolls in these very moodily lit sets, I guess. He plays around a lot with the low resolution of the video to get away with kind of just having like a couple Christmas lights represent a stage, or having this very sparse house that they but it's still recognizably like this kind of house that you would imagine the Carpenter family living in. Yeah,
I mean, these Barbie scenes, they're not cute.
No,
not by a long shot. And that's why you think, that's so funny. He's doing the Karen Carpenter Story, but
and he actually
Barbie,
carved the Barbies with a pocket knife to get, not all the Barbies, but the Karen Carpenter Barbie. He actually, he was cutting out parts of the cheek and stuff towards the end of the film. I know that because I read it. I don't think I've ever seen a high enough resolution copy to...
Yeah, it's hard to tell what the faces look like.
Make heads or tails of it. Also, he doesn't really... He puts a lot of text on the screen, but doesn't seem to care whether it's legible. And I wasn't sure if that was a mistake at first, but then in Dottie Gets Spanked, there are definitely parts where the sound mixing... he mixes the sound kind of like how he mixed the images with the background shot in the interstitial text in Superstar, where it's supposed to be like an ambiance. You can't quite... It's not mixed so that, like in a standard commercial film, everything is kind of mixed at exactly the same level, no matter who's standing where, who's speaking, what's actually on the screen. And I feel like he played around with that a lot in Dottie Gets Spanked, too, which creates this connection that makes me think that that was intentional.
Should we talk about what Dottie Gets Spanked is about?
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about Dottie Gets Spanked quick, because I think it's 7:38. So
yeah. Although Elizabeth, the podcast who provided us with cheese. We did. She came by and brought us a big stick of cheese, and it's delicious. And we finished it. Oh, here, you want the last tiny bit? I just had a bit, right. So yeah, it was very good cheese. What kind was it? Like Asiago or something, or?
No, it's a cheddar Gruyere combination.
A cheddar Gruyere combination. Oh, that sounds delicious. Gruyere.
Gruyere.
Gruyere. I made that up, right? Yeah. I do know what Gruyere is, but Brie. Okay, I was thinking of Brie. A Brie Gruyere combination. If Brie and Gruyere had a baby, it'd be Gruyere.
But it would not be this.
It would not be this. It would not be this. Okay, all right. Wow, you take a soft Brie and then a Gruyere. Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then you breed it with a larger space alien, and then you call the Super Friends.
And then Batman shows up and ruins everything.
Right.
Eats all my cheese and...
I bet Batman probably thinks he could have, if Batman watched Superstar, the Karen Carpenter Story, he would think, I could solve her problem.
Well, everybody else did.
That's true, yeah. That's kind of, her brother would just kind of, shame her about it, and her parents seemed like monsters in the movie.
Oh, they were horrible.
I know her brother was the one who, blocked legal access to the movie. That's why you can't get, a decent-looking copy of it.
This was Todd Haynes. It was a film school project, right?
That's gonna need a fact check, because
okay, that's it was an early
definitely
film.
Feels like it had to be. It was before he had any kind of industry connection, I think.
And he didn't have even the $50 budget. How much does it cost to buy 4 Barbies and a penknife?
And a camera, though. See, I had a $50 budget because somebody else bought the camera.
Yeah. So somebody probably, if he borrowed his dad's camera.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. So
then he just needed the Barbies.
The Barbies.
Well, if you do some good trash picking, you could probably find some Barbies.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how he did the text overlays, because it wasn't easy to do text overlays without access to equipment. I mean, if he did it at a university where they had the equipment, then yeah, the budget for the whole movie, outside of maybe hiring actors to do the voices, couldn't have been more than Also, I guess, did he buy the Barbies new or used? Because Barbies weren't super cheap in the late 80s, but they were pretty common, so you could probably find older ones at garage sales.
But he couldn't go to Craigslist or eBay to search for Barbies for sale.
Right.
Or post and say wanted Barbies for, preferably with deformed faces. Serious movie. And Dottie Gets Spanked doesn't come off as serious. It's more surreal and a little absurd. Stylized. It's
very stylized.
And what is it about? It's about
a kid kind of discovering his sexuality through television and his parents' attempts to deal with that, and I think it's set in the 1950s, at least the way that the house is decorated and the way that the magazine rack looks in the store.
And Dottie is it's a TV show. It's kind of like an I Love Lucy. So this is I Love Dottie. I forget what it's actually called.
The Dottie Show or something. Yeah.
Somewhere between I Love Lucy and the Carol Burnett Show, because she plays different characters.
And like a Lynchian nightmare, because like the jokes are intentionally just sort of traumatically not funny. And the laughter always seems to be slightly off, so it feels like at any scene where they're directly interacting with the TV has this like nightmarish, slightly off vibe to it.
So this kid, the 6-year-old, he just watches Dottie every time it's on. So I guess once a week, black and white TV, and he even draws pictures of Dottie. He's
like tons of them, yeah.
So he overhears his mom and a friend of hers talking about something about some girl getting spanked, and that she had never seen someone get so much spanking. And the mom says that they don't believe in corporal punishment, like the kid's mom. What's the kid's name?
I don't know if did they give him a name?
Yeah, because say the dad says,
Oh yeah.
Insert name here.
I can't remember the name though.
Let's just call him Kid.
Oh wait, right. And Dottie, when he meets Dottie later, she mentions the name, I think.
Yeah. So, right. He said, "This is so and so who made you this thing." Mentions Julie Andrews. I see. Okay, yeah, Julie Andrews has to do with the sexuality. So,
Julie Andrews, because Julie Andrews is like kind of, especially in the context of like 50s, 60s pop culture, she's the mother figure kind of type, like surrogate mother figure too, because of like Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins in a weird way, it's almost like the Cat in the Hat, right? Except with like a person instead of the Cat in the Hat. Like the kids are bored, this woman shows up out of nowhere. But it's also like a replacement mother fantasy, which I think is what this kid is having with the Dottie show. Like even more, because there's like a lot of like queer undercurrent with it, where he's sort of relating to these like touchstones of what would have been considered in the 1950s to be like quote unquote gay behavior, right? He's like obsessed with the Dottie show. He seems to be entirely relating to female figures.
He's even, one of the girls refers to him as what? Feminino, yeah.
But then when he has these fantasies and dreams, it seems almost more like it's like a combination of like immature sexuality. Like he keeps having these dreams where Dottie gets spanked, or his dad is spanking Dottie.
Right. It's not,
or he's like a king figure that kind of has this like sadomasochistic sexual control over Dottie.
The most powerful ruler in the land.
Right, he's like in this ridiculous kingly getup.
So he actually does see Dottie get spanked. So he wins a chance to go. He wins a contest, and he gets to go see the Dottie show being filmed live. And in the skit, it ends with Dottie's husband putting her over his knee and spanking her. So this ties into that little girl who he hears about, who's always getting spanked. She's the one that calls her feminino, calls him a feminino, which is what you had suggested. Basically, it was a version.
It has to be some kind of It's like a right or like a fairy. Basically, it's got to be some variation on that.
Right. So, but so then he dreams about Dottie getting spanked by. Is it spanked by his dad?
I think it was the actor who played his dad. But she's like in this. It looks like halfway between a decayed Roman arena and like sprocket holes coming together to form a room, but it's like really dark and dramatic, and somebody's just spanking the crap out of Dottie.
And she's whining, or was she going like, "Wah." Oh wait, I just realized, because she was doing that when they were recording the show. It was that definitely was kind of a Lucy,
and there's also like the reality of the Dottie actress. She couldn't care about these kids showing up to the show any less, and this kid has like these sexual fantasies that he's like gripping onto really tightly, but the Dottie actress, she like brings in a body double to do the spanking stuff.
Right.
So that adds another like layer of surrogacy doubling.
And she needs to adjust things, adjust the couch, make it higher to get the spanking just right.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, I was really excited because I know that face when you just see it from far away. It's the male lead on the Dottie show, and then later it comes back and you see him closer up when he's doing the spanking. It's Adam Arkin. I don't know what Adam Arkin was doing in this.
Well, he was spanking Dottie.
He was spanking Dottie. I don't know how. Maybe he heard, hey, anybody here want a chance to spank Dottie? And his hand just shot up before everybody else.
I mean, I'm sure that's how Todd Haynes found all the actors for the movie. He just put out like a, newspaper classifieds, who wants to spank Dottie.
And then they had a
union
contest.
Rates, yeah.
A contest. Who found of all the people that are interested, who actually gets to do the spanking, and Adam Arkin won.
Yeah.
So Adam Arkin, going back to the Allens, Adam Arkin was in Chicago Hope, or one of those that ran at the same medical shows that ran at the same time. His brother is Alan Arkin, and Alan Arkin was a big star at some point. He still shows up and stuff. But so then Adam Arkin is his younger brother, I believe. We'll have to check this, but I'm pretty certain of that.
So we're adding some stuff for next episode.
Right. So this was a pre-Chicago Hope. I think it's Chicago Hope, or that was Mandy Patinkin? There were two
Mandy
going on
Patinkin. That is a name I've heard a lot, and I have no idea who it is.
Let's see. He originated the role of Che in
It's a he. Okay.
It's a he. But he's also on what's the name of the HBO show that's all about? Is it maybe CIA or No, probably it would be CIA or NSA, and terrorism.
Homeland?
Homeland.
Oh, Showtime, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Showtime? Okay.
Yeah, so you just got eroded.
Yeah, he's kind of the... Yeah. Thank you for rotting me. He plays like the guy in charge on it. Which is, nice. And he has a big beard. And I'm like, what is he doing on there playing this dramatic role and he's not singing? He should be singing. Okay, here is where you probably have seen... have you seen The Princess Bride?
Yes.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. That's Mandy Patinkin.
Okay.
Yes. Which is also where I first met Mandy Patinkin. By the way, I once ran into Mandy Patinkin and went up to him and I said, "You were the best part of the Princess Diaries." So the first time that I saw or knew of Mandy Patinkin was Princess Bride. So there's no connection there. But then I didn't hear Evita until a few years later. And then,
I don't think I've ever heard Evita.
Well, did I just sing a little bit of that?
I guess so, yeah.
That's when we were doing the sound check.
I am like so ignorant of musicals.
Yeah, I was singing High Flying Adored. High Flying Adored, so young, the instant queen. This is, that last queen didn't quite work out. That's what we were doing for the sound check earlier. So anyways, Mandy Patinkin, Adam Arkin. So yeah, I was just excited to see, like, what is he doing in this small, 1983 television budget, this guy who nobody knows, and Adam Arkin shows up. Although maybe at the time Adam Arkin hadn't gotten any big roles yet. We'll have to check.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like just being Alan Arkin's brother doesn't necessarily make you an A-lister, right? Like a lot of people.
That helps you become a C-lister.
That's right. Like he was like the Stephen Baldwin of the Arkins, you know. Like, I mean, Todd Haynes had released a couple moderate, you know, like Miramax type budget titles by that point. Like I think when was Velvet? No, Velvet Goldmine was
Velvet
later.
Goldmine
That was like
later.
98,
Yeah.
right? But
wait, so did he have a major release beforehand?
yeah, he had Poison. He had
Oh, so that's how we could have gotten the
one
name,
other one. Yeah, because Poison was still like relatively low profile, but it was definitely bigger profile than, or at least more traditionally professional than Superstar, the Karen Carpenter Story. You know, it wasn't. He's not like trying to scrape together two nickels to make a movie.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. These films.
They held up, or well, the one that I had seen before held up, and the other one was quite good.
Yeah, it was, and you know, this is you see his craft. I mean, this is the guy that gives us Far From Heaven, the best film of 1959, as I like to tell everyone. I just learned. I said 1958 earlier.
Wasn't
to Dan,
Imitation of Life came out? Yeah, he hasn't seen any Douglas Sirk movies, so maybe that can be a future podcast that we can watch, like for All That Heaven Allows, or
yeah, watch All That Heaven Allows and Far From Heaven.
Oh yeah, because like I haven't seen one and you haven't seen the other, so that
Right.
Yeah.
So that averages
Works
out to
yeah.
one person has seen them both. Or
Well, we can both kind of compare fresh, sort of.
Yeah, I'd really love to
means.
see Far From Heaven again. I loved it when it came out, and so. But I've not seen any Douglas Sirk
That was
movies,
like
so I don't
early
have that information.
2000s, right?
Let's see.
2003, because I remember that coming through the Saratoga Film Forum, so it means I must have been in either middle school or high school
Yeah, early
when
to
it was
mid
in
2000s.
second run.
And then it was great. I don't think I realized that it was the same guy that did Velvet Goldmine. Let's see, we're talking about Far From Heaven, right? Which, you know, instead of Dottie and all that. Well, no, this one actually, we're talking about.
2003, right? No.
Oops, is that. Oh, did you see that? Yeah,
2002. Okay,
yeah,
1 year
Julianne
off.
Moore, Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid. That's who I was trying to remember. So yeah, and that's definitely that. And Velvet Goldmine, definitely, there's, you know, the queerness plays a very important role.
And I think both movies, it, like, I mean, I guess it's like dealing with queerness through. Well, I guess Dottie Gets Spanked, it's not really a metaphor. It's like more sort of. It seemed like a lot of parts of that. They had the feel of like rewritten scenes from someone's life, which it takes a lot of like work to get that effect right. You know, like when you say it like that, it just sounds like, oh yeah, they just took their memory and we're looking at somebody's diary pages. But the Feminino thing, it feels like something somebody would have written in a diary at that age.
The kid,
I don't know.
The kid drawing the using crayons to draw Dottie getting spanked and all that.
Right.
We don't actually see her. It's not like the kid spanks her. It's not like the dad spanks her. The only spanking, the spanking happens. The
only
real
spanking in the
happens dream.
overworld.
The only spanking in the overworld. There's the one in the dream. There's the TV show one, right? And that's acting. And it is. I'm going to say this again. I love the word stylized, but it is stylized. But it's straightforward, real story. It's just here's a little kid, and here's what happens to him. I think the most fantastical thing is that he wins a contest.
Yeah,
but you know those things happen.
Yeah, and it's not like he shows up after winning the contest and it's like a factory made out of chocolate. It's just like some lady trying to do her job smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Cranky.
I mean, talk about real.
Yeah.
I once met Angela Lansbury. I did not tell her that she was the best part of Princess Diaries, but I did.
Okay.
We met her.
That's what you told me the first time you met me. You just came up and you said you were the best part of the Princess Diaries, and I was like, "Do you want to start a podcast?" Yeah. And we only met last week. We actually had not met during the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. Hence the errata. You know, I said some things with lots of blank spaces. You said some things with fewer blank spaces.
Then we cut them together like a soundboard. Yeah.
Yeah. We were moving from California to Seattle, and we stopped in not Ashland. I forget the name of the town in Northern California where they filmed a lot of Murder, She Wrote, Cabot Cove. A lot of it was Mendocino, California. And they happened to be filming that day, so we went and we watched, and there were, you know, a bunch of people standing around, and went up to go get Angela Lansbury's autograph, and she was just kind of signing, not really looking at us or anything, and then she had to suddenly just abruptly got up and went, and her husband was standing there very nice, and he said, "Oh, you know, she's got they're filming." So
yeah, somebody just got murdered.
Somebody just got murdered, right? Jessica just killed someone again. She's got to go solve it. John Astin was in that episode, and he showed up in a number of them. So John Astin, who played
I don't know if I ever
Gomez
saw
Adams,
a whole episode of Murder, She Wrote. Yeah.
We used to watch it as a family all the time.
Huh.
Oh yeah, at least the first couple of seasons.
Was it like Columbo style, or was it like the kind of mini movies that they did in succession, or was it just like a show?
No, there was continuity. There was continuity, not that Columbo doesn't have continuity, but there's no really like connection from one episode to the next.
Well, like Columbo, it's like a series of TV movies more than a TV show.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah, and weren't they all 2 hours long? Or?
Yeah, they're all like super long. Yeah.
Man, Columbo was great. Yeah, and Peter Falk.
Yeah.
Peter Falk. Oh, you know, we should watch. What was it? Angels Over Berlin. The
Wim Wenders movie.
Yeah, Angels Over Berlin is the
it's not
direct translation.
Yeah, but it's called Wings of Desire.
Yes, thank you.
Knock on wood.
Oh man, got to see that one again.
Yeah,
and the Nicolas Cage movie. There we go, double feature.
Yeah.
Wim Wenders and Nicolas Cage.
Wait, which Nicolas Cage movie?
There was an American remake, an English
Wings
remake
of Desire with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
How do I not know about this? Okay.
How do you not know about it? How have you not watched it?
Should we get ready for the party?
Yeah, I guess we should. Now that we've gotten to Jessica Fletcher. Oh, I just got to say this. John Astin, who played Gomez Adams in the original Addams Family TV show, also formerly married to Patty Duke, and their kids are Sean Astin and I forget the other son's name. But he was really nice. Really nice. After the show, he stood around and signed autographs, and we were talking to him. And there was all these kids, like 5-6 kids, talking to him. He was so nice to us and chatting with us, and that I'll remember. So I try not to remember when I think of a movie star. I try not to think of Angela Lansbury. I try to think of John Astin. I think I mentioned before, I don't go star fucking. So, I mean, that was, we went up for an autograph. I wasn't the one asking questions. I actually corrected someone about no, he's no longer married to Patty Duke.
Right. Well, that was early errata.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I did tell someone, I had just told someone that he used to be married to Patty Duke. And she went up to him and said, "So, and your wife is Patty Duke?" And was like, "No, they're divorced." So, we should get ready for that party.
All right. Well, until next time, this has been Dan
and Ron,
and this is Anomaly, the Lost Episodes,
the Next Generation podcast.
Yeah. And you, if you can't remember all those things, it will never turn up on Google. So,
remember,
we really fucked ourselves there. But
you can do some SPO for words like Pilecast, and more of a nominee, Podguest, Podcat, Podmate, anything to do with the word pod.
Yeah, we're just like claiming the pod for the new world. So
we'll close the podcast episode, Dan.
All right. Well, see y'all next week.
See ya.